Alright, this is going to be chapter 4. This does bring it to another level. Sorry.
Snakes.
I mean, we have to, okay? We have to. It starts working with collections. Now, believe it or not, we've already worked with collections. Does anyone know anything we could have possibly worked with that's a collection of something? What's a string? It's a collection of characters. So we've already been working with collections. We just didn't know that. Okay? Just didn't know it. Okay, so we're going to start talking about a few things here. Okay? We're really going to be covering lists, not lisps. Lists. That word that's hard to say. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about strings. Okay? You all know what a string is. It's a bunch of characters. Okay? And depending on which language you're working with, they can be harder than others. I'll tell you the hardest string to work with is the null string. Do you all know what the null string is? It's a string that's nothing. But a blank string is not a null string. It's kind of like if you click on a text box and hit enter without putting anything in there, it's a string, but it's no length. But it's not null. Because you literally clicked on the box and hit enter, so the string was saved even though there's no string. So you can understand how a blank string and a null string is an issue. Well, luckily Python's not nearly that difficult. Thank God. Because that used to be the bane in my programming existence, working with null strings. Okay. So maybe we took a test. We could look at how does a student get an E? Oh, okay, these are the answers to the questions. I was going to say, how did you guys get an E? Skipped right over F and went straight to E there. I don't know. Okay, so you could see how we could have a list of test answers like that. So could we store these in a string maybe? Y'all agree that would work? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So we could have something. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to make sure we really understand this. I'm going to bring up Python here. Oh, somebody literally turned in their Python shell for program 3. You know when I typed stuff here and that one time I saved it all for you? Someone turned that in. I'm like, it's not a program. So I don't know who. When I try to grade, for the most part, I tried to leave the names out of it. So it's Chris, isn't it? Because I don't want to sit there and say, Chris, you got to know your Sooners hat on, man. I don't like it, so I'm taking up 10 points because you like elites. I don't want to do that. So when I was used to grade all my essay tests, that's where I would grade the first page with the names on it, but then I would always turn then I'd grade everybody's second page, everybody's third page. That way you didn't know who it was. It's only fair. Okay, my answers equals A, B, E, A, D, B, B, A, C, E. Okay. So what we did there was just create a string called my answers. Okay. It would be very beneficial if you all walk through all this stuff. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to type for answer in my answers. Print answer. Okay? And we get the string on the screen. Everybody get that at least? Yes, no, maybe? Some of you? Hopefully I didn't lose anybody yet. We haven't covered anything yet. We literally have covered nothing. Okay. But we did something different this time. We didn't use range, and we didn't use X or Y. Y'all notice that? I'm just showing you can do it this way. What that basically says, for answer is just like X. For X in my answers is a string. So for each item in my string, store it one at a time in answer, and then print answer. Okay? So far so good? Everybody with me? Okay. Okay, so the string contained the 10 data items, no problem at all. Well, now let's look at another. Rather than letters, what if I wanted to store numbers? Okay? Okay. Looking back at my program here, say we started from the front and it was student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could very easily say, okay, Leroy was student number 1, he got an A. Maybe the first and only time. No, just kidding. Chris, second student, he got a B. So we could very easily figure that out. Do you agree with that? Okay, so we can do that for the whole class. Okay, well, but what if these are our answers? It might cause an issue. Because look. So if I typed in, I'm going to type this one in now. I'm going to call it my answer 2. I'm just going to keep it so I can keep them separate. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 6, 5, 2, 2, 6, 1. Whoops, 6, 1. Can't see the screen. My text goes 6, 1, 9, 9, 8, 6, 5, 2, 2, 1, 6. Okay? So those are the test answers. So if I want to see those, let me get this on the screen here. Actually, let's do the same thing we did for the other one. Okay, I'm going to bring this down right here. I'm going to change this to answer 2. Okay. Ever see what happened? So I stored my answer 2, and I put all the, remember, he got a 34, he got a 56, and whatever. But you see, now it's not listing them correctly. And the problem is the length of the numbers. Okay? You know, did Leroy get a 34, or did he get 345? We don't know. Or is the second student a 56 or a 562? So it's not quite as clear cut when you're working with something that's more than just a single letter. Okay? Because in this case, I would want to know that student 3 got a 2, not that student 2 got a 562. You can see how it would cause an issue. Okay? So what we can do is we can store those in a list. Okay? Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Ugh. You gotta look at a light or something. Okay, it's gone away. You ever know that if you can sneeze, you look at a light, it goes right away? It's amazing. Alright, so you all agree that there's a problem with the numbers. Okay. So the list, it says, in addition to the primitive classes, has a number of powerful built-in collection classes. We've already seen strings, obviously. Now we're going to talk about lists. Lists. It's hard to say. So look at our picture here. We have pretty much like a flow chart, organizational chart. We have Python collections. Then we have sequential collections. The difference is, I mean, with a string, we can go right through it. You know, item 1, or item 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's called a sequential collection. Strings are a sequential collection. Okay? Well, lists are as well. We can use lists just as easily. And we're going to see how they work. I want you to type in this here. I'm going to type it in as well. It might be easier if you just let me type first, that way you can see it bigger on the screen. 3, cat, 6.5, 2. Okay. In the same way that we typed in those test scores or those numbers, I typed this in, but I'm making it so that we're having a collection now called, it's going to be called my list in a second, and it's going to have 3 elements in it. The first element's going to be 3, the second element's going to be a cat, and the third element's going to be 6.5, and the other one's going to be a 2. So that's 4 elements. So now I want to type my list equals, I should be able to click here and hit enter. It brings it right down. Hopefully everybody's figured that out by now.
On that my list, does it matter if the L's capitalized or not?
No, it does not, as long as you're consistent. I normally like capitalizing them. I capitalize the L but I'm just sticking with what he's got here, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So if I type my list is equal to this, then if I want to output my list. Oh, to bring that other line down? Watch, I'll show you. Type my list equals. Now I'm going to go back up to this line up here, this line right here. I'm going to click on the end of it and just hit enter.
Mine always got space down whenever I do that. I don't know why.
I don't know. I got the new improved version.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just make sure when you do my list space, don't hit enter. Just go and click on the other line. Did you get it to work? Hold on, let me go see what's got it.
So it worked that time. I don't want to do it at home. It didn't work.
My list space. Hit enter. My
You
list
got a comma there instead of a point. Decimal point.
space.
So it's comma 5.
I'm sorry, equals. Sorry. Now click on the line of next one. This one.
You look and type it in. Okay, do a sentence here. It says comma.
Yeah, you just have to be on the line you want to go to and click and put focus on the other line. Okay? Alright. So now when I hit enter, my list now contains that information. I can tell that by typing my list. Okay? See, now do you all agree that we have how many different data types there? Different data types. We have a 3, which is a 3 is an integer, and we have the 2 is an integer. The cat's a string. The 6.5 is a float or a double. Okay,
A floater or what?
a double. It's really a double, but it's just semantics.
Is that because of the decimal point? What?
Right. Okay. So let's continue on. Okay. So now what it did was in memory, it stored the 3 in index 0. The cat in index 1, 6.5 in index 2, and the 2 in index 3. Okay. So they're all still together. A list is very similar to an array. If you all know what an array is in other languages, it's the same thing for the most part. Okay. It's actually easier to reference it here. Okay. But it's actually like an array list because an array has to be the same data type. An array list can have multiple. It's similar though. Okay. Here's some of the stuff we can do with them. We can use concatenation. We can use indexing. Let's try the indexing first. I'm going to type my list with nothing. Obviously, I see the whole list. Okay. When I type my list with a 0, I should get a 3. That means take my list, show me index 0. I get a 3. Well, I want index 1. So I can go down here and put a 1. I want to see 6.5, so I'm going to change it to index 2, so on and so forth. So I can specify the index position and it'll return that. Easy enough? I can also specify nothing. Oh, you can't? Yeah, we can't. Okay, it's a little different. Hold on. We'll get back to that one. I thought we could do that one. I guess not. All right. So let's look at some more examples here. We already did the first couple. He has my list plus my list. Basically, it's going to put the list out twice. It's not going to add them together and give you 6 cat or something and 13. It's just going to put it out twice. Okay. You want to see it 3 times? We learned this in the other area. You can just say times 3, or so on and so forth. Okay. You want to see how many elements are in it? Length. So it's pretty much the same as strings. Indexing is the same. The repetition or repeating is the same. Concatenation is the same. The length is the same. Now we can slice it. I keep wanting to say splice. It's slice. So if I say splice, I mean slice. I just have an issue with that. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to do my list. 1:3. Okay. What it does is it gives us index 1 through index 3 minus 1. Remember, it's always the minus thing. Like with the range, it's always one less than. So since cat was index 1, we got cat. Since 6.5 is index 2, we got that. We didn't get the number 2 because, remember, it's one short of that number. I don't know why they do that. They just do. Okay? We can also see what's in there. I want to see 6.5 in my list. I want to see if 7.2 in my list. 6.5 was in my list, so it says true. 7.2 is not, so it says false. Okay? You know, I don't like that. No, actually, I don't like cats. Actually, I love my cats, but we're going to pretend I don't like cats. I'm going to delete. Actually, let's look at my list first. There's the complete list. I'm going to delete my list. I want to delete cats, so which one would I delete? One. Now my list is missing a cat. Oh man, we killed the cat. Alright. So far so good? Ever with me?
Are you recording this?
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about rewriting your third program to include lists. So it behooves you to know how to get program 3 working so that you can modify it.
It's even better for me.
I mean, I just gave it to you. But one thing when you're looking at your programs, you don't have to do it my way. That's one way to do it. But
what?
yeah, there's other ways. I mean, see, so many people think there's only one way to program. No. Even though mine's much better than Cameron's, his still worked.
It's much prettier.
Okay. All right, let's continue on. Okay. So, they have something. Let's type in he's got something called ChangeList. Okay, I'm going to make ChangeList here real quick. Scroll it down so I can see it on the screen. ChangeList equals 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the door. I think I just spelled door wrong. I can't see.
So quotations doesn't matter.
Okay. So now I have my change list called 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, shut the door. And if I put it out, I get it on the screen. Okay? I actually spelled it right. Amazing. Okay. So far, so good? Okay. Well, I can change items in it, like he's doing here. Change list, position 2, equals, the sky is blue. So that's going to go to my list at position 2, which is buckle my shoe. It's not the number 2. Change it to the sky is blue. Everybody following along, getting this to work okay? Yes? Okay. Now I'm going to output change list on the screen, and now instead of buckle my shoe, I have the sky is blue. Okay? So far so good? Alright, let's continue on. Okay. Alright, whoops, went too far. They call this mutating or changing a list. You know, it's I'm trying to get so I can see it on the screen. Okay. Now I'm going to say name equals Monty. So if I just type name, I should get Monty, which I do. Name 2 equals X. So what will that do? So why didn't it work?
Was it because you say name in the string?
That's actually it, yes. Because the string doesn't support this. At the list, we can change a list. We can't change a string that easily. Okay? The way you change a string is really overriding. But a list, see how we changed list up here? We did change list, actually changed the contents of the list, and it worked perfectly. You can't do the same thing with a string. Even tells you string object does not support item assignment. You cannot change one item whereas you can on a list. Okay? So most things work the same, but not everything. Alright, let's continue on. And by the way, reading this, actually let me go back to that for a second. If you're reading this error, it says it came from the Python shell from line 1. Well, since I'm typing it line by line, there's only one line. So don't think line 1's at the very top of my screen. Line 1's the last one I typed because I only typed one line. Now, if I was typing like, come on, where's it at? This for loop or something like that with multiple lines, then it might show you something other than line 1. But since I was typing one line at a time, that's why I get a line 1 error, like right here. Okay? Alright, let's continue on. Okay, so what they're showing you here is ChangeList. Tells you what was at each position. Then you can very easily change what's at a specific position. So it works like a champ. Okay? Now let's type this next one. Okay? I'm going to type my list equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All I did was create a list of numbers. They don't have to be numbers, but they are in this case. A equals my, whoops, my list, oh, it should have worked the other way, shouldn't it? Now let's see what A is. A is my list 3 times. But why can't... It would. I was wondering why I had to put brackets in there. You didn't have to. Wait a minute. Yes, you did. Oh, because I wanted brackets in there. That's why. Okay. You wanted to... With the brackets, it actually puts the brackets in there. Without the brackets, it just makes it one long string. Or list. Okay. Everybody see the difference? When I did it up here with the brackets, it actually put the brackets in the... what? If you didn't put the brackets like I did here, it just makes it one list. So this is actually, if you've known anything about arrays, this is like a multi-dimensional array. This is the first dimension, this is the second over here, so that's the difference. Okay? So let me go back to his way of doing it. Let me bring this one back down. Okay, now I want to say my list 2 equals 45. Okay, there you go. It automatically changes it. So now that actually brings up a very good question. I just changed my list. Do y'all agree with that? I changed my list index 2, which is the third element. I did not redefine A. Y'all notice that? Because A is defined right here. Okay? I changed the value of the list after I defined A. But then I output A and A's got a new value. How is that possible? Does anyone know why that does that? Well, the reason is my list is obviously an object. Okay? A is in C++ language, it's called a pointer. It really points to the list. A is not the list, A is pointing to the list. A is equal to the list. So basically, list still has the values in it, and I can change list, then A would still show the updated change. Okay? Can't think of another way to explain that. Okay? Alright, so variable A holds a collection of the list, called my list. Note that change one element shows up in all three occurrences. Explained once again by the fact that the repetition result is actually a list of three references to the same list. The list A really pointed to the list. So, alright. So A was really pointing to the repetition, the list three times here. Okay? And then my list still had the values. When we replaced number 2 with 45, well, A really didn't contain the list. It was really pointing to it. Okay? So far, so good? Is there anybody totally lost? It's easy once I'm explaining to you, isn't it? But the moment you try to do it on your own, it just, the brain fart things. Okay, so I'm going to type range 10. First I'm going to get it on the right screen here. Okay. Range 10. Okay. His is a little bit different than mine, but it's okay. It's the same thing. Now I'm going to do list, range 10, 2 parentheses. Okay. So when I tell it to list, it actually lists out every element in it. I'm going to say range 10 just shows me the first and the last. Okay. List, range 10, comma, 2, comma, negative 2. Okay? Remember the whole range thing we learned? What's that negative 2 mean? Anyone remember? When working with range, remember if I give it one item, it's the stop. If I give it 2 items, it's the start and the stop. If I give it 3 items, what's the third one? The step. Very good. It's a step. So this says basically start at 10, stop less than 2, and step negative 2. So we get 10, 8, 6, 4. Everybody see that? Everybody see how that works? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. This statement right here says list out the range starting at 10, going to 2, with a step of negative 2. So it's going to print the 10, print the 8, print the 6, print the 4, but remember the final value is always less than the value, so you can't quite get to 2. Yes, sir? What? The book gives you a 2? It shouldn't. He does. That's wrong. Obviously, he's wrong.
Oh, you're right. The book is wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see it on the screen.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice he had a 2 in there. I didn't even look at it. Wow. Huh, the book's wrong.
I'm taking the book back.
Because remember, the range is always less than the second value. Remember that? Always. When we did our for loop, it's always less than. Why does he have a 2 in there? I wonder, we are using a newer version of Python than he is. I wonder if it's something that's changed. Possibly. It shouldn't. Huh. That's weird, though.
And you know what's different too? When you hit your range and enter, yours came out to be range 0.
Yeah, 0 and 10 above that.
His just came out to be
Yeah.
the same thing with respect.
So it's got to be a change in Python a little bit.
What about Ben? Right where?
He's talking about up here where I got range 0 and 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. You just got 10.
Yeah, and then mine's different here. It's got to be in the different
Does that
version.
matter? If you
What?
had 0, does that matter? Range 0?
No, it's from 0 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, if you just put in 10,
Yeah, I just did 10. But I don't know. I really don't know why. Maybe I can see if we can put an older version of Python on something and see if we can get it to do that. Because that is weird. Because if you even think about it, remember the range variable says start less than stop. Step 2. Now let me try something here real quick. I want to bring this back down. I'm going to change it to a positive 2. I'm going to change the order of this. So we got 2 to 10. In theory, it should print 2, 4, 6, 8 and stop. Do y'all agree? So it's correct. So it's working correctly. So I wonder if range has changed in Java. Not Java. In this newer version of Python.
What is it? What Python we use?
3.4.1. I don't know what version he's using. I have to go back and look. Alright, let's continue on. Good catch, though. I didn't even notice that. I just assumed there was no N on it. Okay, we're going to walk through a couple more items here. Remember how we were not able to modify a string? Well, we were able to modify a list. Well, we're going to look at a couple things we can do to a list. Okay? Let's get a new list here. My list. Okay. Oh, did he change the value of his list? Okay, I'm going to create a new list. Where did he do that at? Hold on.
Top underneath it.
Did he do it up there somewhere?
Up there.
I don't see my list on there. He must have changed it somewhere. Oh, there it is. No, that's not even it.
That's what you do.
Hold on. It's got to be up there somewhere. No, I don't see it. Alright, we're going to retype it. Okay, I'm going to type my list. If I can get my darn mouse to come back to me. My list. 1024. 3. True. 6.5. False. Okay. Alright, so then we got our list in there.
Wait, this doesn't have false in the first one. This just has 10, 24, 3 true, and 6.5. It doesn't have false.
Mine does on the screen.
Well, that's the second
That's
part.
the second
That's
one.
the second one.
Oh.
See if he adds
He had
false.
false.
Oh, my fault. Sorry. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Okay, now let's look. Okay, now we're going to append something to it. Now we're going to append. What? Oh, sorry, wrong parentheses. Do it all the time. Okay.
So append just add something to the list.
What we did is we added something to the end. Okay. Alright, so we appended something to it. Append means added to the end. I don't think you can prepend in this one. Now we're going to insert.
Ken, does it matter if you use the brackets for the parentheses?
You need parentheses because I did it with brackets and aired it.
I'm talking about when you got brackets up there on the 1024. Can you put parentheses in instead of brackets around there?
No, it has to be square brackets for a list.
Okay.
Has to be.
This one. Okay.
Has to be. Okay, now I'm going to insert something at position 2. I'm going to insert 4.5. Okay? So then, since 1024 is position 0, 3 is position 1, it should appear between 3 and position and true. It should be right between 3 and true. So it should be 1024, 3, 4.5, and then true. Which it is. Alright, the next thing he does, which is kind of cool, is pop. Think of it, pops it off the end of the list. Okay, so it popped off false, and you'll notice it's now missing. Normally you use push and pop, so a pen would be push, but here they use the pen. I don't know why. You do it a lot with assembly language. You push it on the stack and stuff like that, but it's a little bit beyond this. Okay, you can also pop off a certain position. Let's pop off position 1, which is the 3. So we should get a 3. We did. Now the 3 should be missing. Now the 3 is missing. Okay? Everybody see that? Alright. Getting there. Now we can sort it. MyList.sort. Okay. So now when we sort it, see we have true first, then 4.5, 6.5, then 10, 24. Okay? So it's been sorted. We can also count. Oh, we can reverse it. MyList reverse. Now it's the opposite, so we can, that's kind of cool. We can count MyList.count. Let's count how many times 6.5 is found. Should be 1, which is true. You can also say MyList.index of 4.5. Can't see it on the screen, but it should be 2, and it is. Okay, so let's see if it matches what he has here. Yes, it does. You can also remove 1. Remove 6.5. So now if I type my list, it's without the 6.5. So now I'm going to count the number of times 6.5 is in there. And now it's 0. Okay? So far so good? Some of you at least with me? Okay? We're walking through plenty of examples here. Okay, and that's the end of these. So actually I'm going to stop here. We're going to pick up on 127 next time. Okay, so I'm going to say start.
Minnesota Vikings.
What's that? What's 127 have to do with them?
What's the Minnesota Vikings and